Welcome to the College Sports Corner, the show where we talk about anything and everything in the world of college athletics. I'm your host, Isaac Ray, and with me as always, my talented co-host, Caitlyn Edwards. And it is so good to be back. And with us being back, so is college football, and it was so good to have it this past weekend. But what did you miss most about college football, Caitlyn?
I definitely missed the Saturday football games, and I missed the friendly rivalries such as Pitt and WVU and Barstool Sports, and just seeing everyone so passionate about their certain sports, certain sport teams they're cheering for.
Yeah, absolutely. I miss the passion of college football. I never thought I'd be so into Navy versus BYU, but man, I couldn't stop watching it last night. It was just so good to have that back. But with week one in the books, there was so many talented and stellar performances over the weekend. But who stood out the most to you, Caitlyn?
To me, Grant Wells stood out the most. As everyone knows how I love the newbies and rookies, he had his first collegiate start against EKU with the win 59-0 and had 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Marshall absolutely rolled over Eastern Kentucky and he balled out. So definitely a newcomer and someone to watch coming out of Marshall. For me, though, I went with wide receiver Jalen Tolbert out of Southern Alabama. Helping his team get the 31-21 win over Southern Mississippi, the program's first away win since 2017. He had 6 receptions, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, the man absolutely balled out. So it was really cool to see that. And good to see Southern Alabama putting some work in on the road, pulling the upset in week 1. And that's what college football is all about.
So what were some big takeaways for you, Isaac, as we head off into the new and unprecedented season of college football?
For me, Army is going to be a tough team to beat at home. Currently with the best home crowd, they had over 4,000 students packed into their and socially distanced throughout their stadium to get a 42-0 win over Middle Tennessee State. It was interesting last night to see BYU and their air raid offense run over or fly over Navy with a 55-3 win over Navy in their triple option offense. And it was just nice this past weekend to see a lot of smaller schools, non-Power 5 conference teams get a lot of attention, get a lot of publicity, and be able to show the talent that they have. So that was definitely some big takeaways for me. What about you?
For me, I definitely think Grant Wells is someone to watch. As I said earlier, he has a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and he's going to turn into a big player.
Yeah, and Marshall has some interesting games coming up. I think Conference USA is often overlooked as a conference as a whole, so I think he's definitely going to be someone to look out for. But now turning our attention to week 2, what are your big games to look out for this weekend, and who do you have winning them, Caitlyn?
I have a few games. One is Syracuse versus UNC, and I know 2 weeks ago I said how UNC was too high, so I'm sticking and saying how I think Syracuse will come out on top. Another game is Duke versus Notre Dame, and also 2 weeks ago I said Notre Dame was too low. They have Ian Book, they have a lot of talent, and I definitely think Notre Dame will take that game against Duke.
Okay, I had those 2 games as well. For me, Syracuse at North Carolina. I know we both agreed that North Carolina was ranked too high. For me, though, I still have UNC winning. I think that they really do have a talented offense. I think that this can be a huge stepping stone for them. See where Mac Brown has this team. They made a lot of steps last year, and I think that this will be a good test to see where they really are at as a talented, promising team, but a team that we just haven't seen a whole lot from. For me, Duke at Notre Dame. Duke announcing that Clemson transfer Chase Bryce will be their quarterback this weekend. He's a really talented guy. We've seen him at Clemson play a little bit behind Trevor Lawrence. He has a lot of quality, and I think he has some talent around him. I think Duke can keep it close, but Ian Book, the quarterback at Notre Dame, he's a star, he's a baller, and I think Notre Dame's still going to get the win. And for me, my last game, Clemson at Wake Forest. And I'm not really interested. Clemson's going to win. I don't think Wake Forest has a prayer of being in this game. But for me, I really want to see how Clemson looks as the number 1 team in the country, coming off of a strange offseason and disjointed practices. I want to see how Dabo Swinney and Trevor Lawrence get the Tigers rolling in week 1 on the road against a team that they should easily beat, and I think they will easily beat them.
But there was more happening in college athletics outside football, as on Wednesday, NCAA announced that they will furlough its entire Indianapolis staff of 600 employees for 3 to 8 weeks. Starting September 21st, all national offices will be subject to a mandatory 3-week furlough as a cost-saving move. This comes after significant losses in revenue due to COVID-19. But Isaac, how do you think this will impact the NCAA?
Hugely. I think this is going to be a huge impact on the NCAA. They missed out on so much revenue between not having any of their spring championships. Particularly, they missed out on March Madness and all the TV revenue that comes off of that. That would be a huge impact on any industry. And I think this shows how everyone and everything has been impacted by this virus. I think that this could lead to a wide range reconstruction of how things are done at the NCAA and how things are structured. But it really does not give me a whole lot of vote of confidence in how the NCAA is being run. Even if it's just a furlough for 3 weeks, that's still so much money that people will be losing, and that's revenue that they're going to be missing out on just as individual employees. And if it's 8 weeks, they're going to have some serious questions that they're going to have to answer for in Indianapolis. But what do you think?
I completely agree with you, Isaac. 8 weeks is a long time, and I think that the NCAA is going to have a lot of pressure put on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And in other related news on COVID-19's impact on college athletics, Tennessee was forced to cancel a scheduled inter-squad scrimmage this past Saturday as they were missing 44 players, many of these due to either testing positive for the virus or having to be within COVID-19 protocol for contact tracing. So, Caitlyn, is this a one-off anomaly or a sign of more things to come and things to be concerned about? What do you think the impact of this will be?
I definitely think this is a sign of what's more to come. Everyone remembers how LSU went back in the summer and 30-plus football players tested positive for COVID. And with Labor Day weekend, people are traveling, coming back. Football players get tested more than regular athletes and students. So I just think there's going to be an uproar and cases and everything else going on.
Yeah, and you talk about people traveling for Labor Day, and it's not necessarily the players who have been traveling. I think every college football team has the idea of trying to create their bubble, trying to stay within themselves and stuff like that. But these students, they're student athletes. They have to go to class, and when they are going to class, they are interacting with these other students that we don't know where they've been. We don't know who they've interacted with, and it's concerning to see, just even before Labor Day, a whole team basically almost get wiped out because of the virus. Hopefully everybody can recover and be safe like that. But it's definitely concerning because if you have people who do get tested and, but if they get tested and it's too late to get results and they play a team on a Saturday and they come in contact with all those players, that's just another way that this virus can spread. And it's very concerning. We just got this season back. We just got started. After so much scrutiny and so many questions on whether or not we'll have this season. So it's definitely concerning for me. But in positive news, for now, we still have football. And Caitlyn, why don't you tell us about something going on here at Campbell University?
In Campbell news, the Fighting Camels football team will open their season on the road this Saturday in Statesboro, Georgia, taking on the Eagles of Georgia Southern at 3:30 on ESPNU. This will be the first of 4 out-of-conference games the Fighting Camels will play this fall against FBS opponents. Make sure to tune in and see your Fighting Camels on national television.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be such a fun one to watch. Being able to turn on the TV. I don't have to go to ESPN3, ESPN Plus. Nah, national TV. That's where we're at, people. That's where Campbell's at. And it'll be fun to watch. And it'll be good to see the orange and black back on the field. But that's all the time for we have today. Thank you for joining us on the College Sports Corner. Please leave a like, a comment, and let us know what you think about today's topics. Until next week, I'm Isaac Ray.
I'm Caitlyn Edwards.
Thanks for watching.